Welcome to Energizing Life with AKR Fitness. I'm Jace. We've got Mike.
Hello.
And Lindsay.
Hello.
How we doing?
Good.
We're good, Mike?
Yep.
Good stuff. So today's episode is really odd for us at the minute because we're actually recording this mid-September. But we're going to chat all things Christmas.
Yay!
You can hear people taking their earphones out right now.
So I'll be there.
We're going to briefly go over what Christmas is, how Christmas... I'm joking. Mike's face. Like, we are? No, we're going to talk about managing the Christmas or the festive period, not just Christmas itself. So let's get into it. Let's get stuck in. Mike, thoughts, feelings? Lindsay, thoughts, feelings, Christmas?
Yeah, well, so this episode will be airing, what do we say? December. It's December.
It's December.
Dear listener, I hope you know it is December. So we thought it would just be valuable to have a bit of chat, a bit of discussion about the festive season and the implications and stuff involved when it comes to health and fitness. Mm-hmm. So that's not going to be a cancel Christmas in order to stay on track with your diet. No. And hopefully it's not the complete opposite either.
I mean, I'm happy enough to cancel Christmas. Let's just go with it, right?
I like Christmas, Jace.
Not my favourite holiday of the year.
Tell me more.
Nope.
I think that's a good start though, because the festive period can mean all sorts of different things to different people. Some people just love it. Some people hate it. It's winter time here, so there's colds and flu, and there's stress, and there's family dynamics, and there's all this sorts of bits and pieces involved, and it can be a challenging period for people.
Yeah, just too challenging.
Too challenging.
It's just the build-up of it all, is it? You're like, just all this for one day. Let's do it. Just do it in July or something. It'd be different.
I think that's the other bit that I think does put people off sometimes, is just the whole like commercialization of it. Because even though we are recording this in September, find like you can go to the supermarkets and some of the shops and there's already Christmas stuff.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the Christmas chocolates. When they come out, you're like, yes.
Which ones?
I just love. I know you can get Terry's chocolate orange at any time of the year, but for me, that's a Christmas chocolate. Yeah. I always got that in a stocking. So you stock up in Terry's chocolate oranges, and you just you put them in the fridge and you get them crisp. It's a nice snap to them.
So you do like Christmas?
I like Christmas chocolates.
Most people can probably find little nuggets of something they like about that period.
Mm-hmm. I like getting the presents. I'm not too keen on giving them away. So there's loads of things that people tackle during the Christmas period. Have you experienced ups and downs with Christmas period yourself, Mike?
I'm trying to think of. I think as ever, like my sort of stance or thoughts are in general that we would kind of do well to just avoid the extremes. And in this context, I mean the extremes of being like the complete health freak over Christmas and not really participating or not enjoying a mince pie or whatever it is.
Nobody enjoys mince pies.
Controversial one there now. And then on the other hand, going completely crazy over the period and starting the new year off feeling dreadful and feeling miserable and feeling 5 to 10 kilos heavier or whatever. For me, I've actually, when I'm reflecting, I've had indulgences on both sides of that. Yeah. I've had Christmases where I've not really. I've probably been a bit more on the rigid side, and I've certainly overconsumed on New Year's and things like that as well. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk quickly just about some of the challenges during the Christmas period. I know we've obviously mentioned like the build up and it's stressful, but in terms of health and fitness, sometimes if you're in a good place mentally and you're feeling really good physically, that Christmas day can become a massive issue. And like you say, either do you become the health freak or do you just throw caution to the wind and go hell for leather at it? So there's diet and physique and loads of other factors that can play into that.
I think it's difficult for people to find the balance. Yeah. I think that's the thing, because like as you said, if you're arriving for the listener over this next couple of weeks and you're actually feeling on top of your health and fitness, sometimes like too many nights out can just knock you out your stride, or just the offices at work, those blooming tubs of celebrations and heroes and whatever can knock you out your stride. So I don't know. I'm reluctant to give like any clear sort of advice or strategy for people, because I think everyone's different and it depends what you want from your festive period. But kind of like what we touched on, there's maybe an element of it just thinking, right, what's most important here? And remembering that actually Christmas might be a month, it might be a day, it might be anything in between. But what's most important to you? Is it the family time? Is it actually just feeling fit and healthy and going into January feeling on track? Or, what is it that you want from your festive period? I think having a little bit of thought about that. One thing that's really important to me with the turn of the years is just getting a little bit of quiet time to myself and reflecting on the previous year and setting a bit of a plan for the next year. I mentioned like buying a wall calendar and looking out when I'm going to take some breaks in the year ahead and what are the big things I want to achieve or whatever. And if I don't, like I remember a few years back, there was just like, we need to go and see, my family here, and then we need to see, your family there, and then there's, I've got my meet up with my mates and a couple of beers there, and I was like find myself getting agitated because I was like, I need a little time out for me here to organise my stuff. So I think it's recognising what you want it to be about for yourself.
Sounds like there's actually a really good tip in there, and even doesn't matter what you want for your Christmas period, but just a little reminder to take 5 minutes for yourself.
Yeah, I think so. Especially like it can be so hectic.
So hectic.
Over the years, I've like as a kid, I loved Christmas, and then probably in teenage years, I was a bit apathetic towards it. Wasn't all that fussed, and then there was a period where I just liked the fact that it feels like the world slows down for a short period. Like the gym's closed. There's just a bit of like. I can just switch off, and it's cool to just watch movies for a couple of days and things like that. I've liked that sort of switching off of like the world, feeling like the world stops for a day or two. That's what I've liked about it.
Lindsay, what's your Christmas experiences?
I think, personally, my experience has been in the past that I have a lot of friends that have gone away and live all around the world, and that was the time where everybody would come back together.
Yeah.
So I looked forward to that time of year, like specifically taking holidays off work, because I knew that like it was more of a friends thing for me.
See people I haven't seen in a long time.
Exactly, catch up, and that catch ups can be anything from 1 day to 3 days to 4 days to 5 days. It just depends.
On the trot, right?
Well,
there's no breaks in between.
I mean, a few hours sleep. So I've always been very much friends orientated around that time. And in terms of the build-up, it always seems to start like the last weekend in November. Okay, that's like the first night out with work. Then you've got maybe a family night out. Then you've got a friends night out. And it seems like every weekend in December, right up until Christmas, is just manic. And I'm probably speaking for quite a lot of people, the listeners, that office parties, family parties, work, like every weekend. And when you get to Christmas Day, you're almost like exhausted from the too much drink, too much food, and you're just like almost monging out for that's right, monging out for the whole day. Like you'll get up, you'll have open your presents, which is always exciting, have your breakfast, which is always like a ridiculous amount. Like my mum likes to have a full cooked breakfast on Christmas.
Panettone all the way for me,
honestly.
Panettone.
Full cook.
I'm coming round to Linda.
So we'll have that like 10 o'clock when the Christmas presents are done. Then obviously take a dog out, have a shower, actually get changed out of jammies. And then you've got 3-4 o'clock, you've got your starter, then you've got like an hour till your main course, and then you've got another hour till, and then you get to like 7 o'clock at night, I'm like, I am Christmas Day full. And that's like rolling to bed for a nap in between.
Do you like that feeling on Christmas Day?
I consume a lot of food, probably more than I do in a daily, but definitely. But it's after like you have that last fork full and you're just like, I don't need this, but I'm going to eat it anyway because it's Christmas Day. And no, I hate the feeling.
But there's always someone that just hands you a trifle at that point.
Oh,
like,
no.
Oh, okay.
I hate that feeling of, for me,
it's
one of the worst feeling full that you can't breathe, full. Like,
and you're uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And just...
But what gets my mind is like, I'm super excited for this day to eat all that food, and then I eat it all, and I'm like, oh no, that's it.
I found that really interesting, just listening to your Christmas Day routine.
Honestly,
So
it's the same. No matter where I go, which family, it's the same
routine.
except it might not be a full cooked breakfast.
So I'm curious, Mike, what's the Christmas Day routine at Mike's?
I don't know. I think
Starting from you get up. Now let's take it to the start.
I think it's evolved because we moved house just a couple of years ago and things like that. And depends, I guess, what we're doing. But now that we have our own house, our plan is to host. I think every year. I think it's just easier. Yeah, probably get up early, straight for the panettone. Big panettone fan. Yeah, Amanda and I would exchange gifts. Then actually.
So you had gifts first thing in the morning?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, can't wait for that.
Then
wait till you hear my side then.
No. Then I used to do a workout, actually, after that.
I've started going out for maybe a wee run or a walk.
I love a Christmas Day run.
Something in the morning.
Yeah, and do you know
Only
what?
Recently, though.
It's not like, for some people that'll sound madness, for other people, but it's what's behind it. For me, it's not like, it's nothing to do with I'm about to eat a lot of food, I better burn some calories. It's not about guilt or anything. It's just like, here's a day and I'll feel good if I train.
Yeah.
Especially because a lot of the rest of the day is just, what was the word?
You're just mowing out.
You're not doing a whole lot of anything. So I think for the last maybe 3 years in a row, I've met up with one of my mates and just gone for a workout, which feels good, and then come back and I don't know. I think I have done a little bit of helping out in the kitchen, chopping stuff. I definitely chopped stuff last year.
Before you get shouted at and told to get out of the kitchen, right?
Yeah, I chopped some stuff, and then if we've got guests arrive, more exchange of presents, more like probably nibbles or light starter type food. Then I think it's like one of these days that just passes so fast. Partly I think because it gets dark early as well.
You're done by that time, anyway. You're like, somebody suggests a game, and you're like, I can't even move.
That's why it feels like anticlimactic sometimes. I think that's why I like to get a workout in, because it feels like it's something I get to do for me that's enjoyable during the day, and then the rest, food, chat, before you know it's done.
Yeah.
And I think in the last couple of years, I've felt like I've been more like, I didn't get to eat and drink all the stuff I wanted to eat and drink because I was already too full. I was like, I'm sure I used to be able to eat more than this. Go back for seconds later. And then last year I was like,
oh no,
how could I can't remember a time I could have possibly had seconds. So I don't know.
Here's a random one thrown in then. So for presents, do you get to open one the night before on Christmas Eve? Do you open like the other people's presents and only Santa ones on the day, or what's the deal?
I think there's always a discussion about opening one night before, but I think we usually hold off.
I always get my new pajamas for Santa, still to this day. You have to open this one though. All right, Mum. Cheers.
I always try and convince. I try so hard. Like we need to open them all. Like let's just get them all open. Then there's no stress in the morning. We won't have to clean up. And it's always a no, surprisingly. Yeah. It's weird that. Right. I want to go back to something you mentioned, Mike. You said about swinging between the two extremes of being a health freak and then going monging out basically all the time. Have you had any experiences? It's an open question for you both. Experiences in those extremes.
Yeah. First of all, what Lindsay said about meeting up with friends, I was just listening and thinking about that. And there is a power of that festive period that you don't get at other periods, where a Christmas night out generally is better than a regular night out. It's actually similar if you're going on a night out to celebrate something anyway. If there's more purpose to the night out, it tends to be more fun. And Christmas can come into that. And certainly some work nights out, and you see like people are
they're excited,
ready to let loose and things like that.
End of the year, kind of last night out almost. Yeah. I
can imagine this year's Christmas parties being mental.
Yeah, well, depending what the situation is come by the time this is aired. Do you know what? In terms of the overdoing things, one of my worst was a New Year's one. And so I guess to say, like, while I was playing football, we would have, like, I've had a game on the 27th of December before and the 3rd of January and stuff. So quite often, like, I might have training on Boxing Day or something like that.
Are you conscious during, like, Christmas Day on that? So knowing you're playing on the 27th, are you on Christmas Day thinking, right, I'm not going to go overindulging in food, I need to still feel quite light within
Stop when full.
Stop when full.
I don't remember.
Just enough.
I don't remember, but to be honest, like, in my 20s, that, like, I've stopped playing football for more than 10 years now, but I wouldn't have ever consumed alcohol on Christmas Day anyway. Like, I just didn't do it. I don't know if part of that would have been the football thing, or just in those days I was probably only going to have a drink if I was going out for a night out or something. I wouldn't sit at home and have a drink with family or things like that, even at Christmas. So I was probably just a bit more like, yeah, things would have been more controlled anyway. I don't know how. Yeah, probably knowing what I was like when I played football, and I like to have everything dialed in.
Yeah. That's why I asked.
I don't think I would have been having dessert and stuff like that, but yeah, compared to what some people's Christmas might be like, or some of my ones after I stopped playing football, probably it was more controlled. But then, having said that, the one that lingers long in my memory was a Hogmanay. Again, in my 20s, we'd gone to my pal's flat and then on to some other house party, and yeah, just
things got messy.
Things. That's the short version. Things got messy. So on New Year's Day, I only got out of bed periodically to go and throw up, and then on the 2nd, I had training with the team, and there was a game on the 3rd.
What a start to that year, eh?
And
that was a turning point.
As the worst, like I went to training and I could barely function, and this was like totally not like me. To be fair, like on the Hogmanay, one, possibly two of my pals really stitched me up in some way, but it's a different story for another time, which led to my drunken condition.
Demise.
But the game, thankfully, on the 3rd of January got called off for the weather, and never in my life have I been more relieved for that to happen, because I would prepare properly for games, and I was like, oh my God, this is a disaster. So yeah, I have gone that way. I think in terms of strictness, again, knowing what I was like, because I was a bit of a health freak in some days, I probably was, but I probably didn't feel like it at the time. I've certainly had Christmases where I've maybe not had a night out other than just like Christmas Day or stuff like that. And I've also had ones like me and my pals used to go out, 2 or 3 of us used to go out on Christmas Eve every year. Yeah. And I've been spewing on Christmas Day as well.
Yeah, that's such a thing.
Again, in my 20s when...
My brother and I always meet up on Christmas Eve. It doesn't matter what we're doing during the year. If we don't see each other the entire year, we always meet up on Christmas Eve. And it never, ever ends well. Ever. Also, he's a good bit younger than I am, so it always ends up in more pain for me.
Yeah.
I am Christmas Day.
Yeah, oh.
We went through a phase called my pals where, I remember one year we were just like, go for a pint Christmas Eve. And that was like, but still you woke up on Christmas Day going, what happened? So it has that power, I think, where it can take plans and just mess with them and things like that. So I think there is something about deciding in advance what do I want my festive period to look like.
Not just stumbling upon it and being like,
Yeah, just being prepared for it. Lindsay, what about you? Have you been in either extreme?
There was one, I remember vividly, there was one year, I think, I'm going to say it was maybe the Sports Village days, that I took holidays, and for 2 weeks, I didn't train. Maybe I had a couple of walks here and there. And I don't know why I did it. I did. It was just a time in my life where I was just like, I'm not going to train. I'm not going to do anything for 2 solid weeks. And it's probably the most I've not ever trained, unless I was injured. And see, come January, I was like, why did I do that? Like, I felt sluggish.
Sticky,
I wasn't in the right mindset. I was just, you know what I mean? Going into a new year, like, you know, and I probably the listener can sympathise with that, and that's what happens. So I think from that moment, I always made the conscious decision, even if I'm not training every day, I need to do something. I need to keep moving. I need to get out and about, even if it's not in the gym.
Ticking over.
Yeah, exactly. And So I wouldn't say I've been to the extreme of the other side, because I've never really been there in terms of health freak, only having a small portion of this and that, and not drinking. And that's just not me. But the other side, I wouldn't go back to not being a monk for 2 weeks.
It's funny because, right, we can accept that a lot of people, it's still in the mindset for like January, I start my fitness. But you don't prepare for something by doing the total opposite.
Yeah.
Right. So if the person, let's say it's not even January, but someone wants to start the new like sort of health and fitness regime or health kick or whatever, or diet on Monday, what do they do on Saturday, Sunday? They go through the house and eat all the biscuits, all the crap. And actually, you've just made it even harder because you're full, you're stiff, you're sluggish. So if you've got your mindset on, right, in January, here's the new year, new me, or whatever it is. I'm not going to say you need to start in December, but like knowing that you're going to start in January can make it worse, because you
just go for it.
You go mad in December. So it's kind of like you, Jace, you were talking about like dialing in your diet and going even stricter for a couple of weeks ahead of your wedding.
Yeah.
But in the build up to that, it was just like a gradual build up. So I think similarly, if someone has that in mind that they want to go for it come January, they'd be better served like try to get a few workouts in.
Yeah.
Right, be fairly relaxed about it, but again, keep moving, because it means you can start on the front foot a little
build
bit
some
more.
form of momentum as well. A little
Yeah.
bit.
It's quite nice when, like this has happened over the years here at AKR, that we will get people come in mid-December or the start of December, like, I'm wanting a head start on this.
Yeah.
And I love when they come in and do that. I'm like, yes, that's exactly it. That's smart.
Yeah.
I want a head start. Like, I know that next year is my year, if you like, and I've got loads of goals and I want to start now. And I'm like, you can stay.
Yeah, just get some walks in, get a few workouts under your belt. Sure, like you might overeat a little bit and fine, but you don't prepare by doing nothing and just eating constantly and thinking, future me will resolve this problem, because it's still going to be you know, when it rolls around.
Definitely.
So it's important, if you are in sort of your own sort of health and fitness journey at the moment, that it doesn't get to December and you decide, right, you know what, I'm just going to take December off. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just like you said, just keep going, do what you can, and you'll feel 10 times better come the turn of the year.
Well, it's December now for this.
Oh, Jesus.
So that's actually quite a good little segue then. So I'm conscious I don't want to tell the listener what to do or how to live their festive period. So I'm just going to ask you two, what does your diet look like during the festive period, and what's your training look like, and how are you coping and managing it?
Probably varies. I do remember last year, funnily enough, in the couple of weeks before Christmas, I was in a phenomenal place with just mindful eating, just that place where you feel lean and think, oh, will I have something else? Do you know what? No, I'll feel better if I don't have it. I was in such a good place with it. And I'm just kind of curious. I think it felt like that all the way up to maybe Christmas Eve, to be fair. During the festive period, inevitably that I lost that bit of momentum, but I still try not to get too hung up on it, about it. Like, I'll eat sweets, I'll eat Christmas foods, I'll eat a bit too much sometimes, I'll get some workouts in. I genuinely try and be relaxed about it. Like, it's not a big deal if I come out of Christmas a couple of kilos heavier, but I just want to. I want to keep some habits and keep some momentum and keep some normality. I think that the danger for a lot of people is feast and famine, all or nothing. It's the same problems we've discussed all the time. It just feels like it's heightened in the festive period.
Or it's more of it's almost like giving you the go ahead.
But do you know what else it is? I'm trying to train and eat well and get the right amount of sleep and walk around and move my body and stuff like that, because it feels better to do so.
Yeah.
I don't hate, I think that's the attitude people have to eating well and exercises. They hate it, but they got to do it in order to look a certain way. That's not where I'm at. So if they've got the excuse not to do it because it's Christmas and January's coming in which they can do it all then, I think that's what people do. But if December or whenever it is, I'm doing this stuff because it feels better to do this stuff. So I'm just going to keep doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that attitude saves the extremes.
It's also, thinking back a few episodes, part of your goals and your values is moving, keeping moving.
Health and fitness is like my highest priority.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I have to. Yeah, it doesn't mean I drop it for Christmas, but it also doesn't mean I can't enjoy Christmas because I've put it up above everything. I can still dial it down a little bit over the festive period and dial it back up afterwards.
Brilliant. I think that's great advice there. Lindsay, what's your this festive period looking like?
Probably quite similar to Mike. I'm in this place now where I've got the habits set in stone. I enjoy exercise, I enjoy movement, it makes me feel good. The one thing I'd put on top of that is like vitamins are important. And when you've got like that time of year feeling ill and horrible, any time of year is rubbish, but I always make sure like I've got my vitamin C and I'll have that every day and just try and keep on top of feeling good going into that festive period. If I know I'm going to be eating a little bit more, having a bit of a later night, like I'll just make sure the majority of the time I'm hitting what I need to in order for that not to topple me over.
And eating plenty Brussels sprouts.
This is right. I love a Brussels.
I do, yeah. I'm a Brussels fan.
It's funny though, it sounds like because Christmas is this stressful time, it's stressful mentally, emotionally, you've got the family stuff, you've got all this food and stuff, it's almost like there's an element of, right, preparing for it, let's get myself in a nice, strong, healthy place to go into it.
Yeah, I would say so.
The shops also do that, but they start back in August or something for that.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. All right, is there anything else you'd like to leave the listener with regards to festive periods?
I think I was just gonna say like to try. I think the main things that's come up through the discussion is can we decide a little bit what we want from our festive period? And I guess there's bits that sometimes you're going to get in your festive period that maybe you don't want anyway. You know, some of the family stuff, or maybe you feel obligated to go in your office or your work night out or something like that, and you don't want to go. Or, you know, a lot of people have got, you know,
It can be quite a pressurized situation.
yeah,
It
or
is.
there's you know, family bereavement times, and you know, it can be a tough time for people. So yeah, let's acknowledge that you can't always get what you want over your festive period, but within the things that you can control, can we have a think in advance to say, okay, well, come December 27th, come January 1st, you know, how do I want to feel? And what can I do to, what does that require? It's going back to what we spoke about with the time management and the prioritizing. Yeah. It's like, okay, is it a good time for me to take a break from working out and maybe just go for some walks and do some stretching? Or do I need to make sure I get a sweat on every day or every couple of days? Or, you know, just, I think deciding in advance is probably the main takeaway.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Happy with that?
Yeah, I'm more than happy with that.
Nice. Anything final, Mike?
I think that's all. Well, I was going to say have a great Christmas, everybody, but we'll have another episode next week.
However, we can say if you are looking for a gift for someone special, we can get you a 30-day trial, right?
Yes.
There you go.
You can come on in and speak to us here, and we can sort you out getting a 30-day trial. Any questions? Head them to us at
podcast@akrfitness.com.
I was going to go to Lindsay for that, see if she was on that one.
I saw the panic.
And of course, like, share, review, rate us, and if you do share on social media, the hashtag is
#Energizing Life Podcast.
And there you go, folks. We will catch you on the next one.